Hi, this is Rose Carleo from Rose Carleo Band, and I'm on Talking About Rock.
All right, today's guest is known for her commanding vocal presence, blending blues-infused rock with heartfelt storytelling. With a music career spanning over 3 decades and a standout appearance on the Voice Australia, she strikes the perfect balance of songwriting, musicianship, and performance. Her Australian blues-based hard rock juggernaut, the Rose Carleo Band, are set to ignite 2026 with the release of their long-awaited new single, Son of God. Joining us now, let's welcome Rose Carleo. Oh, Rose.
Hello, how are you, Robert?
Doing well. So I'm reading a little bit through your history here. So what they're telling me, this is kind of like putting this band together was like a chance meeting. You guys were texting and calling a little bit, and give us a quick background on how that came about.
So back, about 10 years ago now, we were at Mick Adkins and I, my husband and guitar player, were at a gig in the city, and Mick O'Shea was playing in a band there, and Mick has been in all sorts of bands, Rose Tattoo of note, and we were talking to Steve King at the bar, and Steve said to us, I said to him, we're going to put something together. He says, well, Mick and I will be interested in that. I said, okay. So I had a bit of a chat, and, within a day or two, we got a message from them saying, yeah, let's do it. Let's do something. And Steve King was with us for 10 years, and he only just left last year to go and rejoin Rose Tattoo. So it was a bit of having a chat at the bar, and then next minute the band was born.
Just kind of fell together real easily for you. Sounds real good. Good, yeah. We spoke with Angry Anderson from Rose Tattoo actually a couple months ago. Great guy. Love what's going on there for sure. So you've been singing and performing for a while before this. Give us a little background on yourself. You have a lot of stuff going on there as well.
Yeah, look, I've been singing for about 37 years. Quite a while. I sort of started when I was I was 13. I started a little bit more in the country rock genre, and then flipped over to the rock and the blues, which I dearly love. So, yeah, I've got a few albums out previously. But I'm from the west coast of Australia, from Perth, Western Australia, and I made my way over to the east coast probably about 18 years ago in Brisbane and Sydney. So, yeah, look, I've been doing a lot of songwriting, a lot of touring, a lot of gigging, so it's been quite the experience.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk a little bit about the folks in your band. You mentioned your husband, Mick Adkins, and I think one of the bass players here. So you have Steve King on bass. And who else do we have here with you?
Well, Steve left us to rejoin Rose Tattoo, but so now we've got a guy called Bill Curvin, and he played with some really big Australian bands as well over the years, with Dragon and actually in Angry's solo band many moons ago. So Bill's on bass, and then we've got Mick O'Shea on the drums, and he's played with, Billy Thorpe and Swanee and Rose Tattoo for a little while. And so it's kind of like the who's who drummer to the stars he is. And he actually played with Richie Sambora when he came out to Australia as well.
Oh, excellent. So you definitely got some great folks in here backing you for sure.
Sure has. Yeah.
So at this point, it looks like you guys have released, an EP, a string of singles. Tell us about the new tracks, Son of God here. This is probably the most rock and blues track that I've heard about God. I'm really digging it.
So it's if you watch the music video that accompanies it, that you'll get the idea. It's written about a really dear friend of ours. And he's the son of someone that we regard as God, I guess. So, but look, the album is due out in May, so very, very excited. So the couple of singles that have come out will be on that album as well. So it's been a real labour of love, and with my involvement, I guess, with The Voice last year, that we had to halt a few things while that was going on. So now we're back on track. So yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. How was your experience with The Voice Australia? Because I think it's very, very different in each country. You know what I mean? How it is.
Yeah, look, I was actually approached by a few people to go on, and I thought, well, I'd said no in the past, and then I said no, and then Mick Adkins, my husband, said to see what they've got to say. And I thought, well, you know what? It's an opportunity to represent rock music, to represent, the over the hill musicians, so to speak.
The classic musicians, shall we say?
Yeah, the classic ones. It's not like I'm 20 years old anymore. So,
right.
And it was just a real opportunity to open that up. And I think, the whole idea for me going on there was also to bring the focus back to live music and say to people, get out there and go to shows and, get bums on seats, so to speak, just to bring that a bit more to the forefront again. But look, overall, the experience was really good, really eye-opening. It was a definitely lifetime opportunity experience, and I did enjoy it, and I made some really lovely friends and really got to see how shows like that are put together.
Yeah, very cool. Definitely. I couldn't agree with you more as far as, bringing rock back more to the forefront and, telling people that, live music, is really something that's booming, that you want to go see. That's why we started this show 6 years ago, just, to tell people, let's get out and support these musicians, especially as we just come out of COVID and that. But yeah, very, very cool. I just wanted to get your take on that. So
yeah, cool.
The other thing I wanted to talk with you about, your songwriting is very genuine and heartfelt. Something I think many artists today don't focus on enough, in my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you. Look, I think it comes with age, the more you live life, but also the things you go through. And while there's many people out there that are always sort of worse off, I guess, I've been through a fair bit in my life. So far, I lost my mum at 19, and, I've lost 2 siblings in the last couple of years as well, which has been really, really trying. But I think we all try and write from experience or from the heart, because I think with songwriting, everybody goes through almost the same thing in life, just at different times in their lives. So, I lost my mum at 19. Someone might lose their mum at, 60, or, when they're younger, unfortunately. So I think it's about keeping it real and really connecting with people, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, yeah? So we've all got, that heart and that soul, and the things that or people that we hold dear to us are pretty well the same across the board.
Yeah, definitely. You got to have that music that inspires people, that reaches their heart, that makes that connection. That's what great songs are definitely about. And you got definitely some great tracks. So I also want to ask you, what artists or bands inspired you growing up, or maybe still inspire you today?
Look, I've got a real eclectic taste in music. My mum was a huge country music fan. So when I was really young, Emmylou Harris, the Eagles, Johnny Cash, all of those guys definitely were on high rotation on our playlists at home. And also, as well as that, some rock as well. My mum loved AC/DC, really, really loved them. Loved, Fleetwood Mac, Bonnie Raitt, people like that. So, and I'm a huge Led Zeppelin fan. So Led Zeppelin has been a constant in my life for a long, long time. So I think it's really interesting, as you grow and the older you get, some musical tastes do change, but they also change that you look at songs differently too, and you see different things in them as you experience life.
Yeah, definitely. So are you close to Sydney out there in Australia?
I'm about an hour drive west. So, 80 kilometres. I'm not sure how much that is in miles, but anyway. So around about an hour.
I'm sure as far as like AC/DC, I mean, that's their stomping grounds. That's where they came from. So they got to be it's another level probably there with fans, right? With their
I think in Australia, worldwide, in Australia wide, it is. But yeah, definitely.
Very cool. So another thing I wanted to ask you about, before your performances, do you have a warm-up routine or a vocal exercise? If anything like that you kind of go through? I always like to get vocalists' take on that.
I probably shouldn't be saying this if in case my students, I've got a few students are listening. I don't always warm up. I do a little bit, but it's more about the headspace for me, getting into the zone, warming up in my head, if that makes sense. So I do run a few, but I don't sort of overdo it or anything like that. And, you know, sometimes a shot of a beautiful, neat whiskey helps as well. That's all
sure.
I'm saying.
Of course. Of course. So we're also looking at your show dates here, and it looks like you're getting ready for some shows in March, and then you're headed to Japan in April, which looks very cool.
Cannot wait for that. So, I mean, I've travelled a fair bit, but I've not been to Japan. So I sort of, you know, this has been in the making for over a year. And I said to the boys, we're going to Japan. And they're like, okay. So I just think, you know, why not? I think it's great to experience different cultures, and especially with music and taking your music there, you know, and I love to connect with people that love music. It doesn't matter where they're from or beliefs or anything. But, you know, I think if you both love music, you're on, you know, great common ground.
Definitely. It always interests me in the different countries, you know, where rock is at the forefront or not at the forefront, or what other music is popular. Obviously, when you go outside the U.S., it's a totally different animal in different areas. You know, Japan is known for welcoming so much rock. The UK, things like that. Definitely. I think you guys are going to have some great shows over there, and hopefully swing back and do some more here. Definitely.
Would love to. Absolutely. We, you know, the world is our oyster. I would love to go everywhere. Anywhere that'll have us.
Exactly. All right. So folks out there, you can check out the dates at rosecarleoband.com for all that. And you can check out the latest single, Son of God. Also very, very cool. All right. So that wraps up.
Much.
Yep. That wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thank you to my guest today, Rose Carleo. And to all our fans out there, we hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Rose, again, thank you.
Thank you so much.